Hey Spuddies, Potatomcwhiskey here, and welcome back to Let's Play Imperator Rome. So, we have quite a few things here that we could play around with. I was tempted to lower my fort maintenance, because that would cut the cost down by 10 ducats a month, which is a sizable portion of our profit. Now, I could also cut army maintenance, which would drop us by about 7 ducats a month too, but I like having my army at a relatively high maintenance. I think that's pretty valuable. In fact, actually, that is a really bad thing that I just did right before this barbarian fight happens. Oh god, what have I done? Thankfully, they tried to assault the castle, so that was pretty good. And I should actually get a morale buff for winning this fight. And then if I chase these guys down and wipe them out, I should get a slave in Tridentium. Cool. So unrest-wise, things are a little shaky. The governor local troops modifier is pretty good. What we're going to do is we're going to go find the local army by the governor, and we're going to expand it to a size 18. I think 18 is like a pretty good size for defending this region. And we're going to do that. Because it's currently size 9, and so if we add some heavy infantry to it, I can't recruit heavy infantry. Well, what we could do instead then is add heavy infantry. Or heavy cavalry, rather. How much heavy cavalry would we add? Well, how much do we need? We could add 2 light infantry and I want heavy infantry. Hold on. Where the hell do I recruit heavy infantry over here? We'll add 6 heavy infantry to help suppress this area. Although, part of me is thinking this is only a defensive army, so it only really needs to be light infantry and light cavalry, and we can save our heavy infantry for other areas. Because, like Auxilia and Velites, like, you can afford one of these in maintenance cost. Like, one Principe is worth one of each of these. So, I guess I could, in theory, just expand this autonomous army with, like, more Velites. Like, they add a decent amount of unrest. I tell you what, we might just double the size of this. No, not double. We'll increase the size by, we'll bring it up to 10 and 10. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to bring that up to a large size. Now, we are super low on manpower, so we're going to have to sit around for a while and wait for it to recover. But we have plenty of money and plenty of monarch points to play around with. Looks like we have a slave revolt over here. Let's go take that out with this army. I'm actually going to force march it over here. And I'll want to set up an army down here to guard this southern area too, for rebellions. So this army is much larger now, and hopefully that is working to suppress the unrest in this area quite a bit more than it was. Now, in terms of things here, I definitely want to start converting these populations to my culture, because right now they're the wrong kind of culture, and I have very high aggressive expansion. We're also going to be changing our government here a little bit. We are going to go into the government tab, diplomacy tab. We're going to change our bellicose stance down to an appeasing stance, which will increase the decay rate of our aggressive expansion penalty, and also just generally improve our relationship. And that's because we have really, really high aggressive expansion right now. We don't want it to go above 50, so we want this to bleed down, which will increase the happiness of our people and all that sort of stuff. And it might be around the time to start going to free trade here and gaining the extra province import route, because we have a rather large positive thing here. But I kind of like to wait a little bit on that. I don't know. So yeah, you're skirmishing, you're defending the borders. I'm going to have you on defend borders. Okay. And I think the plus 5% slave happiness could be quite good. Because that'll mean a little bit more cash throughout my empire. Let's turn off forced march on you guys. So yeah, I definitely want to set up another little stack over here to defend Magna Graecia. Looks like Carthage is having a really rough time over here. How are we doing culturally on this island? We have almost fully converted this area. So that's good, because then we can start working on the religion. And getting the homogeneity going. Homogeneity. So we want to culturally convert these guys because they're currently taking like a minus 100% penalty from being the wrong culture. So if we slap in cultural assimilation, they will start converting this into my culture. And similarly over here, this is also the wrong culture and they're going to be taking massive penalties. We will get a little bit more unrest from this. If I click around, there's actually no unrest in here. So hopefully we'll switch to cultural assimilation. That should bring up a little bit of unrest. And similarly over here, I think we're actually working on civilizing, but I think it's, again, we want to do cultural assimilation. We want to try to unite these places into my culture. Now, bleed them dry, I don't know if that's the right move here. We are taking some pretty bad penalties because these guys aren't Roman, even though they're in my culture group, so it might be good to convert at least some of them over to Roman. And it might seem crazy, but this guy is relatively young, and there's a lot of options here for cultural assimilation. We also need to take care of this little nation here, but I'm going to hold off on that. But we're doing a lot of cultural assimilation. Over here in Venetia, we are doing a civilization effort, because we're trying to convert away all these barbs into something useful. And down here, we are doing a social advancement policy, because we're trying to... We're very heavy on freemen and slaves down here in this area. And so we're trying to build up more citizens. So this area would also be very worthwhile investing in, perhaps. So for example, I could move these forts. Like if I move this fort to here on the port, it would be better. If I move this fort to here and then put another fort here, that would be 3 forts in here that would be on ports, which would make them harder to invade. Is that completely necessary? It is like an optimization thing that would work quite well, I feel. It would make, you know, it would just provide me with better, like more optimized defense, I feel. And I like the idea of having optimized defenses. So let's go ahead and slap down those forts to get started with. Then otherwise, we could either go for things like the slave pops in here are a little bit upset. So the question is, do we want to grow a lot in here, or do we want like lots of civilization value? We'll probably just hold off until we have a bit more money. But we can also do stuff like optimizing. Like, for example, we don't have... Oh, we do have a surplus of olives. Did I do that? Oh, I could cancel the trade for a surplus of olives, move a bunch of slaves into Fregale, and get the surplus, and then open up another trade route for myself. So I think that would be a good move if we were to move slaves here into Fregale. And there's a few extra slaves in the capital that we don't need. There's 13 to be exact. So if we move this to Fregale, that's up to 10... 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I believe. So now we have a surplus of olives in here, and we can stop trading for those olives. And instead, we could trade for perhaps a new resource that we don't have yet. So, for example, do we have livestock in here? We don't have livestock. If we were to trade for livestock, that would give me a boost to population growth, which would... You know, that's not terrible. I would have to import it from myself. Some other things I could do. I'd love to get precious metals, actually. I'm really curious. Where are the precious metals on the map? I know where there is one, so I'll go click on it. It's over here somewhere. Precious metals. So there's precious metals here. Now, if I could get a surplus of this by moving slaves into Luna... That would be very valuable, because then I could send that to the capital. So tell you what, we're going to start moving slaves into Luna. So we'll take 3 slaves from here. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll take 2 from here to Luna. It's like every time I hover over this little flag, it causes like my territory to highlight, but it looks like a graphical glitch, so it kind of confuses me sometimes. And then we'll move 3 more slaves into Luna. And then we need just 1 more. So now we're producing a surplus of precious metals, and we can get that moved into our capital. Is there anything else we're importing that we don't need to import? We're importing salt, that's good. Fish is probably low on the totem pole, but I don't think I can get a second copy of precious metals. Now I need more of that point, okay. But we'll take care of that. You want to import vegetables? Yes, that's fine. Okay, let us import the precious metals. I'd love to get papyrus, but it's just not an option. So now we have local citizen happiness, which is good, because it means, you know, just generally speaking, our citizens are happy, and that means they are producing more and they're less likely to go into unrest and all that sort of stuff, which is really good for our technology percentage. And this should increase over time as our aggressive expansion bleeds away. You know, we're bleeding 0.5% of our aggressive expansion a month now. So shame of a governor. So this is Lucius Postumius, and he should repay the city. He's going to go bankrupt, unfortunately. But yeah, over time, as the months tick by and our aggressive expansion goes down, you should see our research efficiency start to climb. Because basically all of the upset citizens in my country are getting less and less upset. So we'll see our research rate climb back up. So we'll just let this bleed off. It's bleeding off relatively quickly thanks to the appeasing stats. We're losing almost 0.5% of it per month, which is a decent amount. It does it does slowly tick down and stuff like that. I'm trying to think what else we could do. There are a few decisions we could do, like embellish the temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximum, which would give us omen power and discipline. The omen power would boost the national unrest rate here from 2.88 to what? 2.88 to what? I think I have to wait for the monthly tick. Wait, doesn't it update? Oh, it doesn't. Wait, what? That's a pain in the ass. Huh. I thought it did. I even told other Let's Players that it did. I even left a comment in Arumba's channel. I was like, hey, by the way, you know the omen power updates when you're in the middle of a thing. And it actually totally doesn't. I can't believe that. Damn. Siding with somebody. I'm going to side with the guy who has lower loyalty, because that way I have a net gain, or it's sort of net neutral of loyalty. What else could we do? So we're culturally assimilating all of this area. What about over here? What is this looking like? We definitely need to conquer this stuff. What other ways could we interfere with our cities? You're trying to exploit people over here, which is not ideal. Aggressive expansion is a problem. The more pops that we could convert to our direct culture, it would be pretty good. A lot of the pops in here are starting to convert, which is great. There's almost a 30% chance that someone converts. Up here, these guys are all now suffering massively because they're the wrong culture. Barbarians actually, or tribesmen rather, actually have a smaller penalty for being the wrong culture. So actually civilizing seems to be a thing that can get your province to be really, really upset with you if they're the wrong culture group. You can see here, like if I had a tribesman, I could show you there. Look, this tribesman is only 52% unhappy. In Sarcinia, oh, he's Umbrian. Damn it! Wait, I need a here. This guy's 12%, whereas like this guy's like 0%. So actually going up to tribesmen can be bad. I'm tempted to promote this guy to prevent more tribesmen from growing in here. So I think with all the tribesmen gone, the civilization effort is a bit pointless. So I'm just going to go back to culturally converting this. and trying to establish a dominant culture, making sure that we can civilize these barbarians. Now, what am I doing up here? I'm doing more culture conversions. I'm doing some civilizing because there are barbs around, and our barbarian population will expand as we continue to conquer people, but my hope is that it will slowly tick down over time. Most importantly, I need the number of Latin and Romans to increase. But mostly this episode is going to be us chilling. We're going to be sitting back. We're going to be just continuing to slowly build up our power level, recover our manpower is very low at the moment, I will say that. Now, I do want to recruit an army down here in Magna Graecia. So, I'm thinking there's not a whole lot of unrest, but I do want an army to be able to settle slave revolts down here in Magna Graecia. And there's also 1,000 pops down here, which is a decent number, so it would be good to have this guy have a general. Or have an army, rather. So I could potentially recruit a mixture of light cavalry and light infantry. And that's what I like to use for my defense. So I might do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll let them recruit up, and then we'll join them together and assign them to this governor. 20 cohorts seems like a good amount to hold off any sort of rebellions and stuff like that. Let's get them to meet up over there. I'm wondering if the speed of the horsemen will make them finish off this journey first, and it probably will. Hey, a civic advance. That means there's potentially new civic jobs. And we definitely want to get river outposts. We actually want all 3 of these, so we're going to go ahead and grab river outposts first, because that's a really, really key one, because that means every province in my country now has an extra trade route, especially my capital, most importantly. And you will be assigned to this region. And the local troops are now providing a nice loyalty and unrest benefit. More importantly, this guy has an army that he will use. I'm going to put this on fight rebels, and you will be on skirmishing stance. These armies are designed to take on very weak armies, so we want them on skirmishing, which will limit the amount of casualties that they take. They will use up some of our income. That's fine. That's totally understandable. Bit of money here, thank you. We have a lot of cash. I would love to develop this province, because this one is in a really good shape now. We're in the process of social advancement here, of switching all these pops into balancing them towards a more balanced population in here. Now, some of these other provinces are almost fully civilized. There's still a few barbs. It could be worth it for me to go through and just manually promote anywhere where tribesmen aren't growing. Like, it could be worth it to just double promote here, so now tribesmen just won't grow here in this city anymore. To get this city moving, get this area moving towards social mobility, and sort of balancing out the pop between the 3 important classes, which is freeman, citizen, and slave. So this is another province now. See, am I growing tribesmen anywhere? I am. Let's hopefully try and reduce the chance that a tribesman grows here again. Trying to cut down on the number of tribesmen. Let's have a look at our unrest map mode. So unrest is still pretty bad. Wait, I thought I got an omen power boost. I guess I lost some omen power because people are the wrong thing. So this will be great. I'll tap this, okay. And then you'll see the color changes. When I click this again, boom, all the unrest disappears. So now our nation is very, very stable, even though we have massive aggressive expansion. I am going to let this bleed away just to give myself a little bit of time. Fort defense. I would love to import another precious metal, because a surplus in the capital of precious metal gives you citizen promotion costs, so that's always really nice to be able to increase our tech efficiency, which is ticking up now. Again, every month it'll go up a little bit as the aggressive expansion bleeds. So we're just in an appeasing stance right now. More of this. Alright. We could be threatening wars and stuff like that. So I don't want this guy to get any more cohorts of a random type, because I actually want this to... Now, this will hurt the provincial loyalty, which is fine. Our loyalty is really, really good. We're in really good shape. But again, just need this to bleed out and just drain away so we can continue expanding. So the question is, do I build buildings or do I go for inventions? I think I go for inventions here because there's some really good ones. For example, monthly wages on characters. If you see my economy here, I'm paying 26 ducats in wages, and that's only going to keep going up as I hire more governors, as I hire more generals. So if I go ahead and take this, sorry, this is national slave output, monthly wages for characters, badoop, click on that. Now it's down to 23. Like, that's a significant decrease. And it scales really, really well with other inventions, so that's good. And the more money we can make, the better investments we can make in our country too. So we have a new leader, and he is not very good, but we do get diplomatic reputation, which is nice. He's not a very good leader. We're getting almost no civic power, but that's okay. We do need a new leader. We'll put the censor in, and this guy is pretty decent. Barbarians have risen. They don't seem to be going for me. You can see we're starting to get some Roman pops up here. So there's a popular vote here that would cut an import route. But the populist faction would be more likely to support me. Otherwise I can get unrest. I think I'm going to take this because I'm not actually using this trade route right now, so that's actually fine. Like, it doesn't hurt me. I'm not using it, so it's like whatever. Are they retreating into my territory? No, they actually won that battle. Interesting. Okay. Again, tech rate is growing as our aggressive expansion disappears and more population gets converted to us. I definitely want to try and, like, finish off these guys. Out of curiosity, who are your allies? If I were to declare war on you, this guy would join you and no one else would join. I could probably knock this war out really quick, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So let's get a stack over here. You're my defensive stack. I wish it was easier to know which is which, and then you're gonna go here. It's gonna be hard to capture this. Send some stacks. You only got 12,000, but your unrest is pretty low in here, so that's fine. We will eventually expand these armies. I like 20k. It's pretty good. A mixture of light infantry and light cavalry. The light infantry hold the center, while the light cavalry does the damage on what is hopefully a smaller force. And then as the light infantry collapse, the light cavalry fall towards the center and do more damage. That's kind of the idea. It's expensive in manpower, but we do have a lot of it. You want livestock, okay. And you can see that aggressive expansion impact is just coming down and coming down and coming down. Spreading the Romans. We're getting a lot of Roman pops in here now. That's good. We want to have at least, not necessarily a majority Romans, but like have a decent number of Romans. Ideally, it would be perfectly. Let's see. We will send them... 200 money is nothing to us, whereas manpower we're a little bit low on. 200 money is like 4 months of income, which is nothing. We're making crazy money at the moment. I could, in theory... Now... Unfortunately, fabricating a claim, I'm not getting the discount because I switched my stance. But I will go ahead and fabricate here on this guy. Just because I don't want to take a stability hit. Like, it's an expensive thing to do. And it sucks, but it's what we have to do to make this work. I'm going to force this through. Because it hurts, even if it hurts me a little bit. And we'll go hit that stack right there. Hopefully obliterate them. He gained the Tactician trait. Martial, Archer Discipline, Horse Archer Discipline, and Light Infantry Edition. Very good. He's going to be very good at commanding my light troops. Let's pull you guys out of there. You're a little bit heavy. We'll catch them on the retreat and wipe them. Catch these guys on the retreat. Oh, that didn't quite work. Hopefully wipe them. Catch them once again. And hopefully stack wipe. You are going to move in and capture this province. Oh, you consider this part of Cisalpine Gaul. Okay, that kind of makes sense. And the other one that I really wanted was National Slave Output. Because this is multiplied upon slave happiness, which should, in theory, net us a bunch of cash. Yep, and it did. So now you can see slave output is now 185%. Well, the slaves in the capital are a little bit less happy, but that's okay. Still, making good progress towards our goals. We're up to 28% Romans now as we convert these populations to us. Should start seeing a few more of these provinces turn red in the not too distant future. I could assault these forts, but they're pretty heavy. Took a slave, very good. And one more. Come on now, this has got to be like a 57% chance. This guy would become more ambitious. He would have a better chance to gain the loyalty of his troops. He's relatively old, and he's also losing health from cancer. So I'm actually okay if his troops become a little bit more loyal. That's actually not a big deal. One of my governors died, unfortunately. That was not in the plan. Let's see. Local tax, multi-character prominence. I'll take this Flavius guy because he's not very good. And hopefully he keeps trying to convert the population, and he does. Let's sue these guys individually. Could spend 100 civic power. Infestulae. Like this one province. Would get a bunch of Roman pops. Like, there's no way that's worth it. 20% of this is like 4 Roman pops for 100 power. It's not worth it. Now, culturally, these guys are the right culture, so we will pass judgment on the important families. If I remember correctly, these guys are Umbrium. So I'm going to embrace them all. Even if it does completely tank my popularity. Which should in turn make my freemen less happy. Yeah, ruler on popularity. Ruler on popularity. But what this does do is it gives me a huge pool of people that I can draw from as leaders again, right? And this is something I want because I find a lot of these families tend to die off if you're not careful. again, we have massive lands to expand into. We're going to need like a governor for each of these. We're going to need generals. We're only starting to touch the tip of the iceberg here. I definitely need to wait for my aggressive expansion to bleed out. Now I could have done the thing for aggressive expansion, but let's go ahead and convert some pops. We'll start with citizens because they're the most important to convert. Now, over here. I guess I could just work on converting this whole area. Citizens. It's a way to spend my religious power. Freemen, slaves. So now this region is unified with Roman culture and Roman values. There's still a few Corsican pops knocking around, which means they're a little bit upset. But generally speaking, mostly Romans in here. So we could easily switch now to the thing that will get rid of the tribesmen, which is what we definitely want to do. There's still a lot of tribesmen in here. I could also spend my points, but I think it's cheaper to do it this way and just do a civilization effort, which will bring up the average civilization of this province. And we'll eventually get rid of all these tribesmen to the point where we won't need them anymore. And we won't have them anymore. Alright. So I have a bunch of money, and I was thinking of investing down here in the province of Tarentum. Because it's pretty well populated. It's got a decent number of slaves. And this could be a good candidate for a bunch of markets down here to increase the civilization value, increase the amount of money I get from it, and all that sort of stuff. Alternatively, I could put a bunch of like training camps, but I feel like you just get so much manpower that's not worth it. It's either like I feel like it's either forts, markets, or granaries, right? And granaries are nice because it's kind of fun. You get lots of extra pop, but it's not actually a whole lot. You get like one extra pop every like 100 years for every granary you built. So it really isn't that much. But still. I'm kind of tempted to just build a bunch of granaries in here. Would lower the chance of a slave revolt. These slaves are all pretty happy, except for these guys. I feel like granaries are a good investment for the very, very long term. So now this province should be like a beacon of population over time and just grow relatively quickly compared to a non-developed province that still has tribesmen. Actually, speaking of provinces with tribesmen, I think we were growing a tribesman in here somewhere. And it looks like we've actually managed to get rid of all the tribesmen in this region. So it might be worth it to start doing a social advancement. We're not growing any new tribesmen. We've gotten rid of them all. So to develop this region further, I would want to run this policy for a while. It will hurt the research, the science output of the local area for a while. Which sucks and will hurt my overall science gain, but in the end, this will be a balanced like region. Like there's like too many slaves here, right? You can move these up into other types. Although there is something to be said for having lots of slaves for like surplus goods and stuff. But yeah, how about tribesmen over here? You're doing a bleed them dry. I really don't feel like bleed them dry matters. You're really old though. You're not losing health, so that's important. Like, we could civilize away these tribesmen. I could also buy them away. What's the percentage chance? It's a 16% chance, so that's like, doesn't take that long to get rid of them. And bleed them dry isn't really doing a whole lot for us, in all honesty. So we'll do a civilization effort in here and hopefully try and get rid of the rest of those tribesmen. We want to try and get rid of tribesmen and people who aren't our culture. That's our goal. We want to bring this tribesman number down, and we want to bring the civilized pops numbers up. Got 4,000 pops, which is a hell of a lot. Mostly Hellenic Romans, actually. 25% of my pop is Hellenic Romans. Very cool. I'd say there's a lot of Romans that are of like different religions and stuff, because I'm doing cultural conversions, but I haven't really stopped them from having their religion. A little bit of Hellenic in here, actually, interestingly. I think that's mostly from conversion. It takes a long time to culturally convert an area, I will say that. But you can see Roman pops are appearing fairly regularly now. There's a 30% chance per city to convert a pop. The oratory power, the money is actually really interesting to me. Granaries have been built, so we should start seeing a population growth in this area over the long haul of the game. It'll take a while for them to fully complete. Wait, why is there a fort here? Definitely don't need that fort. That could be a granary. I did build all the granaries I could in here, right? Yep. Now, invention-wise... the aggressive expansion impact, that would be good to get. And the aggressive expansion change, so that we would get less aggressive expansion and it would bleed away quicker. So we're definitely going to grab those. I'm going to save up for that. How much is it now for a thing? It's only 82291. Because we got a new leader. I'll click that button. Making a crazy amount of money. That's really, really good. Recovered a decent amount of manpower. Happiness is increasing. Tech ratio should still be going up by a little bit every month as our output continues to climb. Thanks to the aggressive expansion bleed. And we're definitely in a just a small period of calming and appeasing and, you know, trying to get rid of this this really negative modifier up here. Now this guy is disloyal, but he is super dead. He is depressed. I could subsidize their family. I don't need to do that. Preparing for war. Local freeman output. Very nice. Okay, I think at 70,000 spare manpower, I think we've spent some time. Could I take on Egypt now? That's the question I'm really curious about. I mean, they're having bad times over there, but I want to be stronger. These guys have my culture too. So where do I have a presence? I could fill out Illyria. There's probably a decent number of places I could go attack. Like Dalmatia. There's all sorts of revolts. I don't like getting involved in revolt wars. I could expand west towards into France and stuff like that. Start converting all these guys. What if I were to declare war on you? You would call in quite a few people who I could take bites out of. So I will fabricate a claim on you, even if it's a little bit more expensive than usual. And we'll go ahead and get our armies in position. There's a very narrow pass that we can go through. Out of curiosity. Let's go ahead and bring... This is the governor army. Then we've got these 3 stacks. I do want some of these generals to die so I can reorganize these armies into formats that I'm like more happy with. So once these oratory advances pass, we will definitely be getting aggressive expansion impact to bring that down. Basically what that does is it lowers the amount of aggressive expansion we get by a little bit. And then the second one actually just like reduces our current aggressive expansion over time. So there's a country civilization level boost. So we're going to take the defending liberty, which will lower the total amount of aggressive expansion we get. And then we're going to purchase another one of these clicks. Oh, there's another one too in here. I'll get the aggressive expansion change. Now I could do this, the Blessing of Jupiter, which would lower this by a significant amount. But I think we're better off with the unrest things, just keeping everyone happy. I could also do pop growth, which is always fun, but we will do the Blessing of Fortuna, just because I like seeing all that green territory that is not rebelling. Let's go ahead and declare war. I have to force this through because they won't vote on it. It kind of sucks. And we'll get this war started. Military faction is now in power, and this guy is a really good leader. Truly excellent. So we'll be at war with a lot of southern France, but we have like really super armies, so we're not too worried about it. Let's just keep these guys moving. Let's go ahead and send our fleet over. Hoping to take a lot of slaves here during this war. That would be really, really good if we could increase the economic output of our empire. Let's keep moving. Beat the pirates. Go take them on again. Finish them off. Go take these guys on. We could import more. Got a little bit of disloyalty. That's okay. Okay, and so at the start of another war, where we pour our legions into Transalpine Gaul? Transalpine Gaul. I'm going to call that it. I want to thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying this series so far. I love you all very much, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!